Churning. Got it. And then I probably should start recording. Hmm. Okay, let me try again. Oh, maybe we are. Okay, I think we have been live this whole time. All right, friends, we're rolling. So, hello, welcome everyone to um, Spacecraft, which, hold on, I can hear myself. Let me just do that. We're welcome to Spacecraft in the thick of Mercury retrograde. We have 5 brave artists here today with us who have gone through the ringer of a 7-week astrology art boot camp. And this is a final show that is based on certain wholeness that they're trying to express about their birth charts. So week by week, we've been going through a different planet in their chart, and now we're kind of coming to a culmination with the prompt being kind of like in the movies when someone finds an old uh, buried up videotape and they put it in and it's like if you're watching this, I'm dead, or if you're watching this, I fulfilled my mission. And so the prompt was make this final message that will be found 200 years from now by your future ancestors. That's an expose that expresses the wholeness of your birth chart to them. So a kind of, if you're watching this, I have fulfilled my birth chart. And so uh, we're going to go through each artist and see what they came up with. And so I hope you enjoy. Please do type in the chat if you have any insights or anything that's coming up for you or any questions you have. We're basically going to show our work and talk about it as a group as we go. So we'd love to have you in on the conversation. So it is my deep space pleasure to present to you our first artist, Maud Andrade. Maud, are you ready? Oh, I also didn't know if we want to say our big three. Would that give some context for the work we're about to show?
I was thinking to say it afterwards.
Let's do that. Great.
We could have them guess.
So should I say now? Okay, so my sun is in Taurus in the eighth house, and I have Libra rising and Cancer at my north node. And so the symbols for me in there were dirt, water. And since it's not salt water for Cancer, I poured some salt in the dish. And then the rose petals being just all about love, extravagance, and floating in the water.
Yeah, that was so soothing. So Venusian, so like grounded, so Cancerian. It was everything. Um, and such a good culmination of like all of the work I think that we've seen from you previously and the imagery and the sound of water. Yeah, it felt very mod.
So I forgot the scale part of it. So I've not been a drug dealer, but I've used it in my artwork when I used to dye fabric. I would weigh out the dye powder to make very calculated solutions of colors for color mixing so I could repeat all the colors I was dyeing fabric. And it ties in what some of the alchemy parts in my chart and that sort of thing. And obviously Libra scales.
Yeah, I too felt really nurtured and healed watching that, and it just immediately dropped me into a space of more groundedness. And I love that, picking up on that about your personality too, and all the art you've created. It was so visceral to have that very, um, yeah, that Venusian in touch with our senses and all of that. It was very beautiful. Thank you.
I also really enjoyed it was kind of like a surreal image to start. I love when folks are doing video works and there's like the first moment that pops up and then you're like, what are we in for? So like the scale and the fountain, I was like, you know what I mean? Like that sort of environment you created was really interesting. And I was also just very intrigued then by the sort of continuation of the ritual and the way, like the flower petals in the water. And like somehow I was thinking of you making something in the water, but then since it was a fountain, they were bubbling out. And I was just kind of thinking about that and enjoying that sort of, I don't know, maybe a little bit of like a reversal or something happening there. It was neat.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful establishing shot. There's so many layers of Libra rising in there. It's just like aesthetically balanced, and then there was the scale, and then the flowers. And then I'm feeling so much 2 year Saturn and Pisces in the sixth house of like there's something still a little methodical. Um, and then of course we're kind of going back to this theme of eighth house in some way for you, Maud, of Ma'at and like weighing your heart. Um, and then the like, yeah, if your heart was heavier than a feather, you would throw it to alligators, like, in the pond. And that's so funny that like your heart was so light that it didn't even get into the waters where like the alligators are. Like it continues to ascend itself or something.
I have this vision of what parting the waters. So if you have enough love and you were in alligator infested waters, they would just part, right? If you fully embodied love, they would leave you alone.
Yes, this is perfect. And thinking of your Venus and Cancer on the North Node, like that would be the ultimate message.
Mhm. And then the other thing for doing this was, living in New Mexico, we have spring winds. So I had one day where it wasn't windy because all the petals would have blown away. I mean, that's how windy it was. Anyhow, so it had to, and since I don't have any air in my chart, it all had to be done with earth, water, no fire. But I guess Libra's air, right? Yeah. So anyway, had to be not windy.
I appreciate how nonverbal it is. I could see someone else putting like something poetry over it or something. Like it's so tempting to like talk over that or something, but you like that you just let it speak for itself.
Well, did you hear the dog barking in the background?
Nice, yeah, John Cage
Mhm.
choice.
Mm. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything on their heart? Thank you, Maud. Thanks for starting us out. All right, we're rolling. So let's hop over to Eva.
Cool. I have not a video, but a slide presentation. And sometimes I have used a timer with my slides, but I think I'm going to just like breath time them. But it doesn't have audio, so I'll mute myself and then I will just time by breathing. So I'll share my screen momentarily here. And that's that. Thanks, folks.
I loved seeing elements of your glass house in there too. Just kind of evoked a lot of that through that window, and just was so fascinated by your hands and that imagery and just remembering like the time I just could watch your hands cut apples and just like the beauty of that and the communication with just hands and how powerful that is was really cool. I have more to say, but that was my first instinct.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's so cool to see the elements of everything from before. And I maybe had forgotten about this, but was reminded of you describing like the red in your fingers, like being able to see like translucently, like the red in your fingers as we were looking at those images. And I was thinking about like that Sagittarian impulse of like being at the party but away from the party, and like sort of like your hands and then the rest of the image, and also like the apples being cut into sections and like parts of a whole. Like there's so many like themes that have that you wove into this from your past presentations. It's very cool.
Thanks. I forgot to say my big three for the group: Aries sun, Sagittarius moon, Leo rising. We've got some ambient sound in the background as well.
I just was so captivated by your hands. Like I was just, oh, I don't know what it is. I think I maybe it's my ancestry, like the Sicilians, like there's so much you can say through hands. So I was like every single movement you made, I was just so captivated. But yeah, thinking about you and your chart and how you present yourself and just yeah, like playing with light, playing with like expression, like, and it's also like not too loud. Like I feel like there's kind of the stereotype of someone so fiery being like someone who takes up a lot of space, and like but you can also, I don't know, kind of be that light without being too loud. Like it was just you were saying and could express so much so delicately, and I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It was really beautiful.
Thank you. It's been fun. I feel like I was inspired. It's been interesting over the course of the class, like to be inspired both by the things I have made and then also by our conversations about them. So I was definitely wanting to play more with the sort of like gestures and hands and like thinking about that. So it was interesting to go on a little discovery process with that myself.
Um, I thought it was very apt, Eva, to have so much Aries ruled by a Mars in Libra that's retrograde. Like I felt this kind of layering within yourself that was happening with the mirror. But then everything was presented in like these glimpses in the way Aries would want it, like this, that, move on, and then this, and then move on. Um, and then there was some cool kind of optical illusion that happened for me, which I wasn't sure if this piece that was like cut of just the two hands was you and another person. Or and then it pulled back and it was just you. But then I was like, are they two different images? Like, yeah, there was some nice mysterious thing going on there about like you, just you, or you and someone else, which feels very Aries Libra of you. And then I just want to also how pleasurable it was that the text was slowly fading, and I'm curious about that choice.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I was thinking about um I there was a part of me that wanted or was thinking about writing something to accompany, and then or what I had thought about writing wasn't exactly an accompaniment to the visual thing that I made, but then I still sort of wanted to work with some of the text. So then I was just thinking about visually how to kind of work with text in that limited way. Yeah. yeah, so it wasn't obviously a thing that I had written. It's not a written thing on its own, but just, I don't know, sort of maybe it's bringing up the visuals and bringing down the text kind of over the course of the experience, which is maybe just captured in this piece, the idea of taking a step away from some of the writing language pieces and trying a little more of like a physical, or at least some capturing. I started to think a little bit about like choreography, but in like it's obviously not it's not like a durational like motion piece, but like thinking about sort of like still of choreography a little bit and like choreography of hands. So stewing on those things. And also it feels a little bit like a seed. It was like exploring some things. So I think it will be seeds of things that I'll then want to keep thinking about. So.
Yeah, I want to celebrate that you've challenged yourself beyond your usual medium, I think, a lot in this class. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I like that it wasn't a video, that it was stills. Like it could have been a video, but it I don't know, somehow I like the snapshot of it. And I think was it done in San Francisco?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So you're doing your train hopping.
Yeah.
I like that.
Using the resources of the place where I have arrived.
Mhm.
Thank you, Eva. Very cool. Okay. Next, we have Alex.
Okay, so hello everyone. So when I got the prompt, I immediately thought of like a story and kind of like an adventure. Yeah, like an adventure story. So this kind of requires your imagination a little bit. I'm not going to be showing a film or anything, but what came to mind was a treasure hunt. And that's what I mean, like use your imagination, because this is more so like a concept that came to me where I was imagining giving giving clues to my descendants. So like I don't even know if I'm gonna have kids, but whoever it is, a descendant, give them a letter, give them a envelope, like sealed with sealing wax or something, right? And along with that is a map that, either I give them or gets passed down. And the map and what's written in the envelope, which I'll read in a little moment, is essentially clues to this treasure that, they're going to dig up in 200 years. Like that's part of the instructions, like keep passing this down generation, when until the time is right. And we'll see if it keeps going and if there will be more that keeps being added to the story. So that's kind of vague again, because like I wasn't, for some reason, this piece, I was like, this seems bigger to me. I mean, I guess like that's makes sense if we're moving into the future and seeing how things can expand. But let's see. I'm trying to figure out where to start. All right, you know what? I'll read first what's in the envelope when you unseal it, and you're like, my great 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 grandchild. Okay. And you can imagine me like an old crone, which is my favorite way to be perceived. Okay. To my beloved children, I entrust you a map for treasure to find, a riddle of stars only you can divine. I cracked open an oyster and found a pearl inside. A trinket for crows, to you I bestow, a trove of my sacred mementos. A romance of wandering fantasy, swimming in reverie of Mediterranean blue, on a sailboat making pasta at the hour of golden hue. I reach for something deep in volcanic soil, a land steeped with my blood, steeped in my blood, blood I leave with you. I dream of the dust, the grip between my teeth. Silence and secrets here lie beneath. Women of Sonora, captive in cahoots, with outlaws, prohibition, and snakes in their boots. Tequila distills as a mother is taken, leaving a child alone too soon, turning to God in an illegal saloon. The wild-haired grandmother who died in the asylum, I am cut from their cloth, and I shall not deny them. I dabbled in darkness, untethered by time, the arts of lust, abandon, and dangerous grime. Fearless peeks into sacred taboos, through the portal, the story pursues. Between the legs and into the mind, keep going, the treasure you will find. Scuba dive to the underworld waters, an angler fish is leading, landing in a state of freedom, one of psyche, healing, and dreaming. Edging me closer, pulled inside, one foot planted, the other over the line. I'm claustrophobic, she cried to the gods. My chest tightens when I feel closed in. Don't label me as anything, yet definition, a name, a word can be seductive as sin. I will be a cantankerous mischief maker, tea pouring rocking chair ghost, listening to your troubles and tireless woes, listening to the bird song here through the window above my dying bed. Wind chimes speak, wisdom of the dead. The world changes and so does our skin. So do our bones. Do you hear me, my faraway kin? Find my bones, study my bones, and love my bones. The tales they have told, the withering of old. Here lies the treasure, a map of my soul. Wouldn't that be lovely to be left but a story? This obituary meanders like a riddle unfettered by glory. Smithing the words as the stars design, under a spiral spyglass of pure mystery divine. You put it back in the envelope and send it on its way. So that was my little riddle for them. And the other, I don't know, this just for this assignment, like it kind of came out of nowhere, but I wanted to try something new and pass on like an heirloom. So just like a future artifact for them. So part of this treasure hunt is a map that I embroidered of my chart. So it's kind of the clues of, you know, who I am, right? And, you know, for them to figure out where they come from. And yeah, so this is my this is my cute little embroidery. I want to make it into a pillow and like actually pass it down. So it's a long-term project, but that's it, you guys. That's my treasure hunt, my treasure map. Thank you. If you really want one, Alicia, like I can maybe make one. I could try.
That would be incredible. I won't hold you to it, and it would be incredible.
Okay.
So am I remembering right that it's your Scorpio, right?
All right. Sorry. Scorpio,
Yeah.
Sun, Pisces rising, and Gemini moon.
So I love the idea of a Scorpio curandera, right? And I can see on your altar also, you know, your tequila and the pillow and your blood. Oh yeah. They are so lucky.
Yeah, I was filled with, I wanted to be the little kid finding that and was just so mesmerized by this feeling of like you as sort of a not a folk tale, but just a legend. And I loved the references to all these women and with these sort of, eccentric, rich backgrounds and you loving them so fiercely. And it just made me feel like if I were that little kid, I just would like accept everything and the darkness and the light. And I loved that Gemini moon too, of like the game of it and that idea of like the treasure hunt. And just very, very whimsical and shamanic. It was so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I loved all the really vivid imagery in the letter that you are leaving. Yeah, it was just, and the way you read it just was very vivid and generating a lot of kind of experience there in the moment of listening. And I love thinking about that poem piece being kind of the treasure map, and then also your chart, of course, like being a kind of a map to you. Yeah, I love the kind of pairing of that kind of like turning it into kind of like an object heirloom piece that can be sent on and passed on down through the years. And also just the written piece did a really great job. You really did a great job of weaving all the pieces together of yourself, like all the things that you showed us over the course of the class. So,
Thank you.
thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, the like, I mean, I don't know, for some reason I'm like, yeah, leave it to Alex to like understand that 200 years is like so many generations. Like there's something about the way that you think about time and like, I don't know, yeah, like bones and time and like the passing of things. Something like very Saturnian. Do you have prominent Saturn placements?
So Saturn in Aquarius at 0 degrees in my
Mm,
12th house.
yeah.
So, and Saturn square my sun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually, that's so funny because I thought about, yeah, there was okay, because I was trying to think about my friends yesterday, just like out of nowhere, said that like, no, you're like, you give off very crone energy, Alex. Like, and I was like, that's a compliment. And I don't remember what it was, but I was like, maybe that is kind of the Saturnian part of me, and with time um and also in the 12th house, like I thought with this poem and this idea of like passing it through time, this kind of dream space, like connecting with my, the descendants and stuff. So that did feel symbolic in that way with Saturn. So thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, I love knowing that too. Just the fact that maybe in the last lifetime you had a Capricorn Saturn and you're kind of just at that beginning of a different Saturnic relationship. So interesting. Cool.
I also wanted to add, thinking about the bones imagery, and like that has been a thread for you, kind of like bones and objects, and like so it was fascinating to think about the way that you collect bones and how that's, or like, those kinds of things, and then you looking forward to the future and imagining people finding your bones. It's just like, just that through line is like just fascinating, and yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, no, I wanted to do something with like all of my little weird objects that I have that are so symbolic to me. And like I've shown you guys a lot, or I've talked about them. I talked to you about like my weird stick collection, and I've showed bones to you guys. And at this point, it almost feels like I'm like, yeah, of course, Alex, like in her bones. But I do like I want to put that in a chest or whatever, and like, pass it along and be like, whoa, look at this collection of stuff, like weird Aunt Al from, 2024 put in here, and like, yeah, the kind of living history, but just like the story too. And I think like for everyone, the idea of like family lore and, what you can bring to people in the future is like story. Yeah, and through art, right? So.
Yes, I really felt your moon and Gemini in this one. And then also your Scorpio in the ninth house. I think what's cool about you, Alex, is actually I really love the Gemini Scorpio mix in a chart because it gives someone this like playful frivolity with the depth as well that I think Gemini struggles with. But it's funny because those are the two signs that people hate. And I
Yeah,
think you like made a nice argument for both of them in this one piece. Like how they can actually be cool signs.
thank
Um,
thank you.
yeah. Yeah, and Emily
When I
says,
first when
oh,
I
go
first
ahead.
saw your crochet, it looked like one of those, like just from afar on the Zoom, like a trying to solve a crime. It had that similar energy of like a treasure hunt, but like for I don't know.
Criminology, yeah, no, totally. I
Yeah.
said to in like my Mercury presentation or whatever, I was like, that's like how my brain works, like that crazy.
Yeah, detective. Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of connections with that Gemini moon too. It's so cool.
Hmm. Yeah, and I didn't think about the Scorpio, like scorpions, like in the tequila bottles. And that actually like is a true story of my ancestors. Like there was there's some outlaw activity in the Sonora Desert and stuff, so I wanted to bring them in too. So yeah, I didn't think about that with the scorpions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. I feel we're in a Scorpio place now. Um, let's pass through to Emily Maverick. You ready for us?
Sure. Yeah. I felt so overwhelmed by the gravity of this task and hit. I won't do too many precursors, but I had a lot of content and I tried to cut in a way that has some grain of coherence. But before I even imbue any of that upon you all, Alicia, may you play this video?
Yeah, my mind's been in other places, I thought we were open. You sound amazing right now. You really do. You sound divine. Hey, by the way, you think I need to borrow any money? I mean, I woke up this morning with $0 and 00 cents in my bank account. I know angel numbers, but I don't need any money anymore. That's kind of nice to hear. Oh, thanks. I love you too. I'll call you in a bit. Can't wait to see you. Okay. Love you. Bye. Well, well, if you're seeing this right now, I've completed my mission. I just got off the phone with the universe. Well, God, whatever you want to call him. I've been in an open marriage with God my whole life. I think we all have. We're never really alone. We can call the stars at any moment. Listen, here, I'm calling them right now. It's 911. Oh, that star music is so beautiful. It could put you right into a euphoric state, huh? That's nice. Sounded so good. You can even hear the rainbow. It's beautiful. You can hear colors you've never seen before, if that makes sense. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to know that every little piece of treasure that I've gathered here is never lost. I get to take it with me. And whatever little glimmer of insight that's been absorbed into my constellation is always going to be a part of my particular stellium. You know, I used to think I wasn't really human, you know? I would study people and watch them, thinking that everyone around me knew just a little bit more about what it meant to be on this earth. Be like, how do you do that? Is that what it is to be a human? Studying their every move. The kids would ask me to play with them, and I'd say, it's okay, I'll just watch. I don't know how to do that. But as I've grown, I have become the biggest player that I've ever become. And I wish I could play some more. In fact, I probably will be for a long time and into infinity. You know what I'm saying? Turns out I'm actually not going anywhere. I'm just going to sleep for the night, and I get to wake up in the morning. And tomorrow is my new mission. I misinterpreted things, but we're always learning how to listen just a little better. So I'll see you in the morning. Love you.
Oh my God, where to start? Yeah. Um, I just like was struck so much. You know, I think through seeing what you've like produced here, we've seen a more serious side of you, but I know that you do a lot of comedy, and it's just interesting to see you like taking the piss because like we know your birth chart. So like all of that stuff you're saying is real and you're taking the piss, you know? And just like this ability that you have to like not take all of this stuff so seriously, but you also have access to so much. And like I imagine like, yeah, how do you hold all of that without some levity, you know? And it's like it's so beautiful to see how you hold it all.
Thank you. Back.
Well, you had me at open marriage with God. Holy shit. I love that idea. And then as it went on, and this will date me, it's like what we all wish Tammy Faye actually could be, right? I mean, anyway, yeah, better than Tammy Faye for sure. And like also the Statue of Liberty all in there. Iconic, iconic.
Yeah, there's something about all your Sagittarius in the 12th that is somehow like in the video, it's like we're like there's some like meta part where you're like, this person's so lonely. But then the Sagittarius you have is too much of a golden retriever to to like be sad about that. They like find a sense of belonging nonetheless, and have a relationship with everything, like in a 12th house way, like so much that they're not lonely. Um, yeah, that was the sense I got.
Cool. Love that.
I'm thinking about how there's something about like the way you perform where like it seems like you're just like embodying all emotions kind of simultaneously, where it's like funny, but then it also feels like maybe you're gonna cry a little, but I'm not sure. But then you're kind of like laughing and it's fun. Um, and also, I don't know, there was something about the way you were making facial expressions that I felt myself trying to like make facial expressions that you were making. I don't know that if that says something about you or me, but I felt myself kind of trying to like track what your feelings were. And I was like, I'm feeling my face changing while you were doing things. So I don't know exactly what that means, but yeah, it was really beautiful and really enjoyed all of the magnifying glass work as well. Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
I was thinking about how much I would enjoy finding that footage and how I would be like, what the hell is going on? Like, who is this person? Like, what are they saying? And also being like, yeah, this is how things are. Like, because you seemed like you were already like projected into the future, right? But just like, I don't know, for everyone's pieces, I keep imagining like what it would be like if I found the footage. And that one was so silly and wacky and also very spiritual and like ephemeral and sparkly and like um I don't know. I loved it. And did you say you're three?
Oh yeah, I'm a Capricorn with a Capricorn rising and a Gemini moon.
Yeah. Yeah. But then yeah, definitely the Sagittarius and the 12th that you talked about, Blair. I was like, yeah, that definitely comes through too. Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, Emily, I feel the blessing of your Mercury conjunct Uranus too in Sag. Um, where you have this gift of being nonlinear, but still being able to tell a story that makes sense in some funky way. Um, my mind thought, I don't know if you guys know Ryan Trecarton, maybe that's like a cliche reference now, but I was like, oh, you're like Ryan Trecarton, but like with space to breathe. Um, and then I was thinking, oh wait, no, like Emily is like Emily. Like that, it's funny to like compare you to other artists because I feel like you're so singular. And I'm thinking that, yeah, that Mercury next to Uranus like really is strong.
Thank you.
I don't know the astrological significance of it, but like the way that you ended with like, just kidding, that's just my mission today. And tomorrow I'll have another. I love that. I love that so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it was so interesting. The reason I did that, I've tried to make it silly why I did that, but I actually got scared because I'm so like I felt like, oh my gosh, maybe if I take this too seriously and I say goodbye, that I'm gonna die. And I got like really intense about it. It was like almost midnight, and I was like, I'm not gonna put that out there right now. I'm gonna pretend like that was just one big. I'm like, just kidding. It was a funny psychological blip. Yes, I totally did. I was like, ah, I took it so seriously for a second. And then it's going to be on the internet and it will be the last thing. But I want to be alive. So that was good to remember. I want to be alive. That's good.
Well, I think that's wise. Art can cast spells for sure. So,
Experienced that before. Yes.
um, I know I get worried sometimes about how much Hollywood's making like weird apocalypse films now. I'm like, don't, they're gonna cast a spell.
Um,
Um, okay.
yes.
Anything else?
No, but thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So then this leaves us with Alicia.
Yeah. Well, it's a good segue because that's how this felt for me, was like casting a spell. And I felt in a good way, maybe I was like some sort of pressure that this will live somewhere, you know? Like in a way, actually, because we don't know what's going to happen with the internet and how long digital resources will exist. This could be found in 200 years. Um, and so, I don't know, I was thinking about it living. And also to speak these things like into words, I feel is to speak them into being. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Gonna share the thing. I put music on it at the last minute that might be too loud and take away from what I'm saying, but let's see how it goes. I think if I mute myself, you can still hear my computer sound, so I'll do that.
If you're watching this, I fulfilled my mission. I carried the flame of what I believed possible for our world, our future. Didn't let it go, didn't forsake it. I gently carried it and cared for our dream, the collective wish I felt humming inside myself and everyone around me. Even when no one else seemed to think it was possible. Even when some of the sweetest dreamers I knew thought me too naive, desiring of too much. I'm bearing this message in the year 2024, so I'm not sure how it will have gone. And as much as I can dream, our minds, as you know, are limited things. All I can imagine is from what I already know. But perhaps it went like this. Perhaps we marched across what we called the United States. I'd think we'd march not for a single reform, nor a single political platform, but perhaps instead for the sake of love, with the demand of more, much, much more, true evolution, liberation for all. Perhaps along the way we found ourselves a ragtag crew, holding differing beliefs and spurned by differing slights, and we found that we could not move forward together without making amends, holding space for our grief and grievances. Perhaps we let ourselves lift up the rugs to inspect and divest of what lay beneath. Perhaps we made a vow never to let it build that way again, and felt for once a trust in each other's words. What happened from there is only a guess, but one can imagine what portals of change such empathy could reveal. I don't imagine we went much longer leaving anyone among us without food, without shelter, without resource. I can't imagine we continued forth without reparations, returning lands to their rightful owners, but still leaving no one without a home. True liberation comes with the understanding, after all, that there is enough for us all, that everyone is worthy, not any one group over another. If you are watching this, then I was not too naive, and we learned to live without slaughter, without unnecessary production and consumption, without the spoils of international trade, without policing and reprimand, without borders and regulations, legislated agreements for how one ought to treat another. If you are watching this, then your world exists in vibrant blues and greens, magentas, oranges and yellows, or milky coffee-colored sands. If you are watching this, we've unpaved the roads, dismantled the towers obstructing our views of the sky, the magnificent occasion that is every sunrise and sunset, which you have enough time to view. There is not so much work to do that you are not afforded time to live, to love, to let your skin soak in the honey of the sun, to delight in the wisdom of birdsong, the resounding calm brought by a day of rain. If you are watching this, then you are not alone. This I am sure of. You do not live alone. Do not rejoice alone. Do not suffer alone. You are free to enjoy the world on your own, in silence and meditation, reflective peace, but no one is ever alone against their will. We know the grave danger of this, loneliness and disconnection. It has been the source of so much strife, so many grave misunderstandings, so much harm and collective undoing. If you are watching this, we do not desert one another. Do not abandon, exile, silence, reject, push down, deny, abuse, or relegate. We are too deeply aware of the divine that exists in each and every being. Slivers of a single whole, we are each simultaneously of and in devotion to. Of course, if you are watching this, I am telling you nothing new. What I can tell you perhaps is that I live at a time when we are only just now arising from slumber, still not yet awake. We are rising from a nightmare that has long disturbed our peace, but as we slowly return to conscious, we see that it was only just a dream, just one night's dream, and today is a new day. There is a light cresting the horizon, and we can only speculate as to what the coming hours might hold. It is a crest of promise, and nothing more. But if you are watching this, you know the rest of how it goes.
First of all, thank you so much for casting that spell. That made me so emotional and was so beautiful and healing, and is such a manifesto and of where I hope we can be. And I just was so touched by just the depth and the sweetness and the details of all the things that are coming to light right now, and how we are so aware of it, and just the message of loving the divine in each person and knowing that there's another way. It filled me with a lot of hope, and I would absolutely love to receive that and hope someday to receive that. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alicia, I feel like there's a way in your writing where like you carry us through sort of like a physical experience where like I feel moments where I'm like, I'm in it. And then I'm like, yes. And I'm like looking up and I'm like, I'm back in it. It's like there's something where it's kind of like, it's like, I don't know, there's just like these kind of waves and arcs of like imagining the scene you're portraying. And just there's just like kind of like a physical flow that's like it gets into me, and then I'm like, I'm here with it as it's unfolding, and we're all here. It has this kind of like rallying quality to it. So yeah, it's really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it's very cool to hear that that resonates, because it's how I feel, but you don't know. Yeah. Um and like as you were saying that, I was kind of thinking of like the stellium I have in Capricorn, like Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and like that in aspect to my Libra moon. And I think like what Blair has said about like putting voice to collective things, and then all of that being in the sixth house of like the body. Yeah, very cool. Thank you.
I want to add to that because I also felt so much your sun and Taurus trining that Capricorn, because the feeling of it somatically for me, maybe because of the choice of having this like subtle music playing underneath it, and then the like sound, your voice quality feeling like it was on the radio or something. It felt like literally the time of year that you're born, like May, like you're like almost summer, spring, like you kind of like have your window open. Like I just felt so somatically like the Taurus moment in the year.
I felt like you're this fairy godmother, but not how we think of a fairy godmother. Like you're the fairy godmother in a beautiful Jill Sander outfit, you know, like it's black and gray and perfectly constructed because your message is perfectly constructed, and that we should all desire too much, and that you have us think of that, and then that you simultaneously put out the word perhaps with demand more. And I think that to me, that's the name of the game, is to go perhaps, but then go, yeah, fuck yeah, we're going to do this. And because you're the fairy godmother in this gorgeous suit, you're just leading us all down the path.
Thank you. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that makes me think of that like wish fulfillment that we had spoken about. I think with my Mars and Pisces, I've been thinking about that so much. Thank you. I didn't say my big three. Leo rising, Taurus sun, Libra moon.
I just wanted to say thank you for those words and speaking those and bringing them out, because I feel like that has it's such a powerful spell. And, you know, I think like we can all agree, like, yes, like we're behind you all. I mean, we all, it's like the words, I don't know, I'll speak for myself, but yeah. You being able to be the voice for all of us and holding us with you in that. And that's just really special. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but I'll just say thank you. I'll leave it at that. So thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alicia, I do appreciate that. I think this message feels like such a force that lives in you. Like almost every piece of work you've done um, really has this at its core. And I also want to congratulate you for using video. Is that the first time?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that?
I wanted to put more like B-roll in, and then I was like, well, you know how I am with my homework, so it happened last minute. But I liked it. I think a lot in images. Like whenever I think about doing my homework, it's always very visual, and then I can't actually physically, I don't have the skills to do it. So this felt really nice to be able to finally offer something. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it as like a soft opening of your video work. And nothing like staring at a candle to help that message almost enter our subconscious mind or something.
Right. I kind of wanted it to be meditative and almost hypnotic.
Yeah. And it's clear too, you have a knack for audio. Like that was very beautiful, the way that that was layered. And like there was just perfect height for each thing that was layered. Yeah. Want to affirm that.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, it reminded me so much just the way you narrated too, of like a film that you watch that's just so deeply nostalgic that you just want to watch over and over again, and that just makes you feel so good. And something about the quality of your voice and just the way it was set up was like, oh, I want to replay this. It was really, really beautiful. I want to drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, and watch that movie with the lover. Yeah.
Yes. Maud says it was a great summing up of our class.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
LP cast.
And as per Mercury retrograde, I can't see, like, my interface on YouTube is kind of obscured and weird, and I can't see if anyone's asked questions, or so I feel like we'll have to answer them in our hearts. And say goodbye to everyone. And thank you so much for joining in on this little moment with us. Thank you everyone for sharing your work. So I will stop the live stream. Please enjoy your Sunday.